When people hear real estate investor, they usually picture someone older, someone with a suit, a briefcase, maybe a bunch of gray hair, and a fat bank account. That definitely wasn't me when I started. I was broke. Like college broke, ramen noodle, cheap rent, clapped out car broke. And honestly, that's what made it work. See, college is this weird season of life where nobody expects you to have anything figured out. Nobody expects you to live fancy. You're kind of supposed to struggle. And that's actually the advantage most people completely miss. Because when you've got nothing to lose, you can take moves that set you up for everything later. Back then, I knew one thing for sure. I didn't want to graduate and spend the rest of my life trading time for a paycheck. I didn't want to wait until I was ready to start investing, because I could already see where that road led. Mortgage, kids, debt, stress, and no time. So instead of waiting for the perfect moment, I decided college was the moment. I didn't have money. I didn't have credit. I didn't have connections. What I did have was time, energy, and the willingness to look at real estate differently than everyone around me. While other students were complaining about rent, I started asking a different question. Why am I paying a landlord when I could be the landlord? That shift in thinking changed everything. My first real move wasn't flashy. It wasn't some luxury property or massive deal. It was small, uncomfortable, and honestly kind of scary. I bought a modest house near campus and lived in it while renting out the other rooms to roommates. The same people who would have paid some random landlord were now covering the mortgage. For a house I owned, I wasn't living large, but I was living smart. Month after month, my biggest expense in life was getting paid for by other people. That was the moment it clicked for me. Real estate doesn't have to start big. It just has to start early. While that house was quietly building equity, I started learning about something even more powerful than ownership: control. I realized you don't always need to own a property to make money from it. Sometimes, having control is enough. That's when I discovered lease options, and that strategy completely changed my trajectory. Instead of going to banks, begging for loans I wouldn't qualify for anyway, I started talking directly to homeowners who were tired, people who own houses they didn't want anymore. I'd step in, take over payments legally, and place a new family in the home who wanted to buy someday but couldn't get approved yet. They paid upfront, they paid monthly. I created cash flow without owning the property or using my own money while I was still sitting. In college classes, these deals were paying me, and no one tells you this part, but once you do one deal, doors start opening, confidence grows, conversations change, you start seeing opportunities everywhere. Some of those opportunities came from pure hustle. I spent time talking to distressed homeowners, finding properties that needed work, and connecting them with investors who had cash. I wasn't swinging hammers or fixing roofs. I was solving problems. I'd lock in a great deal, pass it to an investor, and get paid for the assignment. Sometimes $5,000, sometimes 10, sometimes more, all without owning the house. That money didn't go to war partying or lifestyle upgrades. It went right back into the game. Every dollar became a tool instead of a trophy. One of the most eye-opening parts of my journey was working with homeowners who were on the edge of foreclosure. These were people under real pressure, late payments, stress, fear of losing everything. Most investors see these situations as numbers on a spreadsheet. I saw them as real people who needed real solutions. By stepping in early, before the bank took over, I could help them preserve some dignity, protect their credit, and often walk away with something instead of nothing. Those deals carried urgency, and urgency creates opportunity if you know how to handle it with empathy. Eventually, something else happened that most beginners don't believe is possible. I started using other people's money, not because I was rich, but because I could find deals that made sense. That's the secret no one talks about. If the deal is solid, the money shows up. People with capital are everywhere, quietly looking for opportunities they trust. When you bring value, partnerships form naturally. I still remember bringing a deal to someone who didn't believe in me. At first, they laughed, thought I was crazy, but the numbers worked. The plan was solid. And that first yes turned into another deal, and another, and eventually a portfolio that replaced the need for a job. entirely by the time most people were graduating and polishing resumes. I was choosing whether or not I wanted to work at all. And here's the thing. This isn't about being in college. This is about starting before life gets heavy, before responsibilities pile up, before fear talks you out of taking action. Real estate rewards time more than anything else. The earlier you start, the more powerful the compounding becomes. If you're young, if you feel broke, if you think you don't have what it takes, I promise you this. You already have the most valuable assets you'll ever own: time, energy, flexibility, and the ability to learn. You don't need to know everything. You just need to take one step. One deal, one conversation, one uncomfortable move that pushes you forward instead of keeping you stuck. Because waiting feels safe, but waiting is expensive. And the truth is, you're never too young to start building wealth, but you can absolutely wait too long.